Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the CleoCast. My name is Matt.
And I am RC.
So what have you been up to recently?
A lot of stuff, but not a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
What have you been up to recently?
So I had a family emergency that's been pretty stressful, but, now we're here to hang out and record everyone's favorite Kansas City-based local podcast. So there you go.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That's right, listeners. You don't get to know shit. We're not going to tell you anything.
Yeah.
Why did we even bring that up?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Here, I can. We had a work party at my work today for Thanksgiving, and checks watch. Yeah, it is the 15th of November, so it's not Thanksgiving, but we had a work party, and it's one of those where, like, they got the dance music going, they got the drinks flowing. They had some form of shot. I don't know what it was. It was like a black liquid. It smelled like peppermint schnapps, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what this is. There's no sign. It's just like, here, take a shot of this fluid. Not going to do that at work. So it's one of those where it's just like, they clearly are like, yeah, you can dance. We put on the thing, dancing is approved. We got like party rock anthem going, everybody's bopping, but everybody's in like their business casual attire talking like, yeah, the 441s are really good this week, Jim. Like, oh yeah, Bill, I really, that account was like, it's just like the flashing lights and the music did not account for like what everyone was actually doing, which was just standing around talking shop. It's just ridiculous.
Man, I remember our holiday party last year. It was in like February, so after all like the holiday stuff, and it was like 45 minutes away from the office, and it was at like 7 p.m. on a Friday, and I was just like, why do you expect like any person under the age of like 35 to drive 45 minutes for a 7:30 p.m. Friday event in February?
Because, well, at least mine, they, like, started before we leave work. So, like, the party started at, like, 4. We get off at, like, 5. Mm-hmm. So, you get an hour off work effectively. So, it's a perk. And, like our Christmas party, usually it starts at, like, you drive to the place at, like, 2. Mm-hmm. So, you get, like, 3 hours off. I cannot imagine why they would do that. Where it's like, okay, go home, see your wife and kids. You're not married, I know, but go home and see your kids. You don't have kids. Go home and see your folks, but then you got to be back here in 2 hours, and we're not paying you.
I can go back and look at the ashes of my dead dog.
Yeah. Jesus. Do you talk to it?
No.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
No, it's just on my mantle. I'm sorry to take this down a weird, sad turn. Sorry, listeners.
At least we're not talking about sports.
Yeah. Now, about sports.
Yeah.
So you were telling me earlier that they are floating ideas about bringing back the Royals Stadium that goes over 670 instead of doing the other proposed sites that the Royals have. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is like actually based on anything, but this is from KansasCity.com. It's Kansas City Star.
It's
right?
a rumor.
It's a rumor.
And it's like I'm not even sure if it's worth getting into it like fully, because it's, I think, fully just somebody floating to the Star, hey, this idea that got axed in favor of the two that actually got like fleshed out ideas and proposals. Maybe they'll still do that. Maybe they'll demolish the old KC Star building and build it over the new 670 Park, which wouldn't be the worst idea, but it does kind of beg the question.
It would be weird to take what is going to be basically a pretty important park for downtown and just kind of co-op like half of it, and would end up resulting in almost the entire park being basically Royals-esque.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I feel like people, if like part of the park is the baseball stadium, I mean, that entrance isn't really a public space. That's just like an extension of the stadium.
Yeah, it kind of restricts the actual public areas of the city-funded park.
Mm-hmm.
And, then all of a sudden you're giving John Sherman design input on the city-funded park. And it's like, maybe we'll keep that separate. Maybe we'll redevelop that area, have that be nice, and then maybe we'll put the Royals Stadium somewhere else that needs development and make the Royals pay for it. I think that's the better idea.
Yeah. But, that's sports. I mean, the Chiefs didn't play.
Yeah, it was a bye week.
Yeah. But I've been looking on Twitter. This is now the Twitter review. People,
do we need to come up with segments like sports talk, and then now it's Twitter talk?
Yeah,
because we do segments effectively. We have it structured like that. We just never actually name them.
Yeah. Do you like listening to two terminally online people who spend most of their day on Twitter?
No, that's why I don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, that's why you just make this podcast.
And now it's time for Twitter talk with Matthew Farewell.
All right. So the Swifties have dug through Travis Kelce's Twitter all the way back to when he joined Twitter.
Yeah, back in like 2010.
And they cannot find a single bad thing other than him spelling squirrel wrong.
It's squirrel. Did you see the one I sent you about Easter?
Yeah.
Where he said, "Thanks, Jesus, for taking one for the team." There's been so many good ones. And then the one like out of nowhere where he's like, the past is good because at least it, provides escape for those who are imprisoned in the present.
But there was also nap time with a bunch of exclamation marks.
When he said, "Wow, I'm going to be late for class today. It's only in 45 minutes, but I am busy." He was so busy. God, this is just a great. It's like, oh my God,
he is a fascinating man. Here is one that I sent to some people, where it's Travis Kelce from 2010 saying, "Ooh, just got called back from a job I'm about to try to get. It's going to be nice working for $13 an hour. All I got to do is show up," smiley face. I try my best to read it how it's written.
That's probably when he got the job doing like calls. Like he was on the New Heights podcast, he was talking about doing cold calls to try and get people to sign up for Obamacare. It's probably that job.
He was doing...
He's like, yeah, I learned a lot about people that, during that job. No, the other one was "Happy Easter to all!" ! Hashtag shout out to Jesus for taking one for the team. ... Haha. It's so good. He should still post like this. I mean, he was born for this. Here's another one. "The moon looks crazy tonight. I'm going to chill out here for a little and just visualize my success and vibe to the scenery." Now, my conspiracy theory is I think he got suspended for weed right around this time. So I think he might have been smoking pot during he tweeted this one out.
He's just incredibly stoned.
Yeah. It's great, though. Here's another one from 2009 where he says, "This Chick-fil-A tastes great. Had to get the waffle fries and a 12 count with the fruit punch medium-sized drink with no ice." It's just like, and then his like current stuff is just like, retweeting ads.
The commercials he's in.
The commercials he's in, yeah.
But where's the one, like Olive Garden quote tweeted one of his tweets where he was talking about going to Olive Garden with his dad and getting fettuccine Alfredo, and it's just like, man, he is.
I wish he still, I really want him to, I don't want him to retire, but I really want him to just start posting like that again, because he might actually be illiterate. Like, he might be illiterate.
The man made it through college.
As a football player, like Matt, he spelled squirrel SQIRLE. And that was he was in college for that. He's 33. 2010.
So all these are his college tweets.
Yes, all of those were while he was going through college.
I do appreciate that it was particularly the Swifties who dug back trying to find him saying something inappropriate, and it's almost entirely him just like tweeting pure vibes.
Just borderline illiterate, but the greatest tweets you've ever seen.
It's that, and like seeing the phrase "Killa Trav" on a regular basis, and it's just I don't know where Killa Trav came from because I don't really pay attention. But
it's a college nickname. Yeah, Killa Trav, like Zeus, all that stuff. But no, it's just like it's fantastic because it's just like I saw another tweet where it's just like, sometimes I look at stuff like this and it's like, man, I kind of wish I was dumber. Life would be a lot easier. Like if you could just, because look, he tweeted out about just visualizing his success and it worked out for him. Look at him. He's a multimillionaire. What am I?
He's dating Taylor Swift.
Well, yep.
I wonder, Taylor Swift never had like a major social media presence that people could dig back and find, but like,
no, because she's smart.
It's just, there must be a reason the Swifties like him. I think they like him, right?
Yeah, they like him. He's got the himbo energy. He's great. I mean, honestly, like the biggest things against his character are smoking pot in college and getting suspended, which who cares?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he was mean to the refs during games and like talked back and stuff and got in trouble for that, which again.
And getting his brother's truck stolen at a strip club in Cleveland.
Yeah. But like, other than that, we've spent 6 minutes talking about Travis Kelce.
Dude, Travis Kelce rocks though.
He does rock. We need to start putting timestamps in the description for people, because we're gonna title this something like Streetcars of KC or like East West Streetcar Now or something like that, and they're gonna turn it on and it's just gonna be us talking about baseball and then Travis Kelce for 13 minutes.
Okay, my last little bit about Travis Kelce though is once again rehashing stuff I saw on Twitter, but someone was posting a video of them walking in Walmart where now he has those like new like microwaved like potatoes and like burnt ends and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
that's
his meals or whatever.
Yeah, he has like a meal like brand thing in Walmart.
Still burrito.
Yeah, that, but not. He doesn't live in like a Dilbert shaped house.
Yes,
he lives in Leawood that he just bought in a gated community.
He lives 2 blocks away from us.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Cool.
No, I don't actually know where he lives. I'm just. I didn't.
I was gonna say is like 2 blocks away is just.
I was just lying for the podcast, so the viewers are like, "Wow, these guys live in a really rich area."
No. But I remember one of the Swifties quote tweeting it saying, "Oh my God, she's teaching him capitalism," and I've enjoyed that, and it's living in my head rent free is Travis Kelce being taught capitalism.
I just saw a couple posts just about how like Taylor Swift is effectively America's soft power projection now at this point, where like her fans are like saving democracy in Argentina or something, because they're like the brown shirts versus the communists in the streets, but it's the Swifties versus the like Peronists or something, like fighting in the streets. It's just like, huh? Maybe Travis can learn something,
Yeah. I don't know, Travis for president, like 2030 something.
I mean, I feel like he wouldn't do a like bad job. He just probably wouldn't know what he was doing for half of it. I mean, like, he seems like a chill guy. He probably wouldn't bomb people as much because he'd be like, "Nah, dude, nah, man." So his like catch. Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to bring up. His like catchphrase on his podcast is he just calls things electric all the time. And Taylor today, when announcing like new tour dates in like South America, was like, "Wow, yeah, this show is electric, everyone." It's like that is a common thing, but it is also Kelce like obsessively just like, "Man, yeah, that play was electric."
All right. Well, that's it for football talk.
Dude, 15 fucking minutes.
We spent 15 minutes like not telling.
We'll do timestamps. We'll get better on the timestamps, everyone.
All right. Well, into what we actually want to talk about. We talked about in a previous episode, for those who pay attention, that the DOT cut Kansas City $15 billion to do a bunch of stuff. And one of that is a East-West Streetcar expansion. Now, this has been in the works for a while, but the project timelines able to speed up based on the fact that they know they have a few B words behind them to get this moving.
Yeah.
So this is from the Kansas City Star that we got through the power of the internet because we don't give the KC Star money, I don't think. Right?
No. Are we just going to say, like, yeah, we don't pay for our articles? Well, it's by Joseph Hernandez from the KC Star, and they did have a public meeting where they presented all of this information. So I believe this is effectively Joseph Hernandez just summarizing that hour-long, which we'll link in the description. You can just go watch the presentation for yourself.
Yeah. Joseph Hernandez, drop your Venmo. We'll Venmo you $1 for your artwork.
Yeah.
All right. An East-West streetcar, ? Kansas City transit officials unveil proposal for 16 new stops. The Kansas City Area Transportation Authority and the Kansas City Streetcar began looking into an East-West streetcar in April 2022. On Thursday, they unveiled plans for 16 stops along 39th Street, Linwood Boulevard, and Main Street. The route would connect Van Brunton Boulevard all the way to the University of Kansas Health System. The proposed stops are around a quarter to a half a mile apart and would connect nearby public transit similar to the Main Street streetcar route and bus lines. Proposed route would be identified in the first phase of the East-West Transit Study, which involved public meetings, one-on-one meetings, micro-meetings, digital engagements. Project manager A.J. Ferris said during a meeting held over video conference. So, one thing I do have to say, though, is kind of current events. I-10 in California burst into flames. I think that was like from an accident, right?
I think it was the city had to dispute with, or the county had to dispute with somebody who was using the underside of it as like a storage area over like they weren't paying their lease or something like that. They were trying to get them to move their stuff, but then eventually it caught on fire. It was like a material storage or something that they recognized was dangerous. So
anyway, I just think it's weird that they're able to cut through and basically like refurbish that in a like snap, but it takes multiple meetings to try and get this moving when
I've talked about this before, and it's just my opinion, but it's the same with like the Philadelphia one where that highway collapsed, and then in like a week they were able to get it reopened. Where, again, I feel like environmental review, public surveys, all that stuff is good and should be done, but there is a certain aspect of that which gets weaponized to either slow down or cancel projects that some people might not like going through, such as I-10. Doesn't need an environmental review, doesn't need any of this stuff. It can get accelerated, fast-tracked. It's a national emergency when it needs to be replaced, even though the city has not shut down and traffic has not really gotten that much better. Whereas with this, where it's like, yeah, public engagement is good. We need to get the opinions of people that live there. But this planning phase has been going on for like almost 2 years now. The east-west portion isn't going to be open until maybe like 2027 probably at the earliest. Like, what? It just takes so long to do this. But then like the 69 Express project, the highway expansion that's happening in Kansas, no engagement survey, none of that stuff. There's not constant meetings. There's not constant, okay, here, we're going to ask what the neighborhoods want. They just approve it, $500 million flat. There you go. It's going to be open this year. Like, we're going to construct a similar length stretch of highway as this east-west streetcar. Because it's 16 every half a mile. So it's what, like, yeah. It's just when it's a highway, it always manages to go fast, and when it's anything but, it's 20 meetings, all that stuff.
But we're making progress thanks to the
true.
Department of Transportation and giving Kansas City the money. And honestly, it looks like it's a pretty fleshed out route that they have going on. We'll get into that in a second. Let me just finish the last little paragraph or so and get into it. The results he received from Phase 1 survey suggested the streetcar is the preferred option for 73% of the surveyors wanting the streetcar instead of a bus line. In the same survey, 60% of people preferred the route to go through Linwood Boulevard instead of 31st Street. Alex Miller, a communication strategist at Parson and Associates, said a little over 2,000 people took the survey, and around 1,500 of those people took the survey online. He did not reveal the demographics of the participants in the survey. Now,
I took that survey.
Yeah. Linwood, I feel like, is Linwood Boulevard is one of those, Kansas City is a boulevard system designed by, his first name is Joseph, I believe, Joseph Kessler, or was it George Kessler?
I think George.
George Kessler. Basically designed to during the City Beautiful movement to basically give Kansas City these great boulevards. Linwood is one of them. It's maintained by the Park Service. The issue that a lot of people have had with Linwood is it's mainly runs through some historically disenfranchised areas throughout Kansas City. Kansas City had some severe redlining problems that basically drew one line straight down Troost, and most of these stops that would go down Linwood would be past Troost, which is a entirely disenfranchised and a part of Kansas City that is, poor and less developed than the rest of the city, and is lagging behind due to circumstances by basically being, cut by 71 highway and I-70. Mm-hmm. So this might be a pretty solid opportunity to be able to connect the communities basically bisected by 71 back into, the part of the city that's been seeing a resurgence.
Which I did read something about the construction of 71 in a book I was reading, and it's just like, there was major pushback against it being built, but they pretty much literally and figuratively bulldozed their way through it and just kind of ignored everyone. And then it's just like, okay, here, we've split this community in half, and it doesn't really help anything. So that highway probably could be torn down with very little actual consequences for the rest of the traffic pattern in the city, and it would probably go a long ways. Anyways, but broadly, someone else I was listening to talk about this, somebody else I was talking to about this was talking about how their major concern with especially this Linwood thing is maybe not the gentrification effect, but just that a lot of people around that route area rent. So whereas you would normally see like say this were to go down a suburb street, mm-hmm. right, like a streetcar, it would raise property values, which is good. But the issue they were finding with this is, well, it's going to raise rents, which is not as good because all of a sudden you're going to price a lot of people who live in that area out. Their solution was just to run a bus line, but I don't see how that wouldn't cause the same issue. And I don't even necessarily agree with not expanding infrastructure because rents might go up, because I think that the solution is, just also build more housing, just keep rents down.
I mean, why would we keep a, economically disenfranchised area of the city, which is basically in an island that is completely surrounded by highways, basically, out from being connected to the rest of the city and being able to, prosper with the city. Yeah, I mean, because we're about to have about half of the main Kansas City corridor down Main Street is going to have a based until Main Street ends and Brookside Boulevard kind of begins, is going to have a streetcar connector, which opens up, if this expands and goes down Linwood, expands to basically most of the city where there's large employers that you can go to. So if you don't have a car, this opens up way more options.
Well, and the other thing I see is this is going to finally, and maybe it does in some other areas, but majorly this is going to finally connect some schools to the line. So you'll be able to see this not only as a vessel for commuting, but also a vessel for, in the morning, it can provide like a public service. So kids, like the New York subway, kids can ride the, Central High School or whatever on it. Yeah. All of a sudden, your limited funding you might have in your district for school buses, because I know that's like a metro-wide area. A metro-wide problem is school buses. Yeah. All of a sudden, you don't need to pay for the one on Linwood because, that's like a municipality now. There's like a fixed transit infrastructure there. So now your school buses can be rerouted and, more efficiently get people around.
This also, I think the oldest stoplight in Kansas City is at Linwood and the Paseo. Yeah. So I could be wrong on that.
I'm not sure.
That's not the Paseo. The Paseo is going to be a little bit further over. We have the map up, by the way.
Yeah, we're looking at the map. You can look at the map, too, if you're not from the area. I am struggling to find the Paseo. I know it's the big one. Okay, that's Prospect.
No, you need to go. You need to go west.
I know.
There you go. So you see, you go a bit further over.
The problem is that Google. Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. Yep, I was right.
Oh God, I hope they don't tear that up.
Or is it going to go in between it?
It's probably going to go in between. I don't think they would need to tear that up. It
might actually keep people from running into it, because I feel like people keep running into it.
Yeah. especially if they get the dedicated transit lanes, which is we'll be getting into that.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of these proposal stuff yet?
No.
Okay, good. So the proposed route on Linwood, and I guess one last thing, we're just talking about the Linwood side. So the 39th Street side, it would finally actually connect the streetcar to Kansas.
Yeah. I will say, 39th Street is a really, really, really cool neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to probably not allow cars to go down 39th Street because it's a tight street already with cars.
Yeah.
It's an extremely narrow street and it's very busy.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's gonna work out with a streetcar going down it.
Well, we'll show you. Okay, so back to this though. Okay, the proposed route costs between $560 million and $60 million, according to the study documents. So the KCATA and KC Streetcar are looking for public feedback on the proposed route. They have a survey open for residents to take online, which will be open until 11:59 p.m. on December 1st. If you are a resident, go ahead and take that survey. But if you're not, go ahead and take the survey. Who cares? Ferris said the next phase in planning for the proposed route includes environmental review, preliminary engineering, advanced planning, and continuing their public engagement efforts. Which is good. I mean, environmental review is good. It's just on the 5th time you're doing the environmental review, that's where it's like, okay, this is no longer an actual thing you're doing. This is just trying to delay the project.
Is there an environment that is on concrete on these streets?
I think you're thinking like wastewater runoff. You're thinking like, flooding mitigation, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
There is, it does, and we have not moved 39th Street outside of the environment. So after that, he said they will begin coordination with the Federal Transit Administration, which he said will allow them more opportunities to receive funding for the study. So then they list out the proposed stops. I don't think we need to read those off because I don't think it's really conducive to a podcast medium. But KCATA and KC Streetcar are working with the City of Kansas City, Missouri, the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, and Kansas City, Kansas, and the University of Kansas Health System to evaluate public transit options between Van Brunt Boulevard and the KU Health System. So if they can get Wyandotte County on board, that suddenly opens up more northernly east-west transit options, maybe connecting down the West Bottoms or something. And then that also opens up new avenues for funding, because I believe the money that goes into the bus system is a different pool of money than the money that goes towards the streetcar, because that's still, I believe, currently the Transit Development District. So I think Jackson County is entirely pays for the streetcar right now. So if you can get Wyandotte County to start forking over some money, all of a sudden the entire operating budget can grow too,
Yeah. Plus, we can connect it to the great tacos in KCK.
And the best barbecue in Johnson County at some point.
That's in Wyandotte County.
Is it in Wyandotte County?
Yeah, it's in Wyandotte County. It's on the county line.
Okay.
But it's on the northern end in Wyandotte.
They still need to connect it to Johnson County, though, at some point. I'm picturing one on Metcalf, by the way, at some point. I think that'd be the best road for it.
Maybe.
Yeah. I've thought about this.
You thought about it?
Yeah, I've thought about it.
Okay.
I was expecting you to disagree or something, but you're just giving me a really weird look. So what would the streets look like if the east-west route is implemented? This section is not going to be very good medium, just audio only. So we will link the presentation notes. You can go look at these photos for yourself, but we will do our best. So if the east-west streetcar route is approved, 6 route options will change the roads along the proposed route. Each option includes shared use lanes of the same kind used on Main Street route. So for the 39th Street options, the first option for 39th Street features a dedicated parking lane next to the shared use lane. So that's, The second removes on-street parking in favor of a turning lane between the shared use lanes. And then option 3 adds dedicated parking lanes to both sides of the shared use lanes. So if you imagine they on this photo right here, for example, number 3, they have 2 center running streetcars and then parking lanes. So it's effectively 4 lanes, but 2 of them are just used for parking. And then the other side of the parking, they've got sidewalk, obviously. So then for Linwood Boulevard options, they have dedicated driving and streetcar lanes are shown for the first option for Linwood Boulevard, along with a transit shelter in between the streetcar lanes. So for this one, it's what?
It's a big curb with in the middle, like an island with protection, like a shelter, and then streetcars running next to that curb, and then cars on the outside next to the sidewalk. It looks very similar to kind of what's going on in Minneapolis, if you ride the Minneapolis system.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It is kind of how streetcars used to run. If you ever look at old pictures of American cities, is they did used to just be center running, and you'd have to just like run over the road. But that was also before they really penalized jaywalking and stuff. So you could just walk into the road at any point. So it works a little bit better. So for option 2, driving lanes are in the middle of the streetcar lanes, and protected biking lanes are added to each side of the street. So for Linwood, that mean they'd be the streetcar would be running in maybe somewhat dedicated lanes near the curb, and then there'd be a bike lane, between the curb and the sidewalk, and then the 2 middle lanes of the 4-lane road would be driving lanes for regular cars. So no on-street parking. So the third option features protected bike lanes on each side, a parking lane, shared use lanes, and a transit shelter. So the biggest reason for the routing up on Linwood Boulevard instead of 31st Street was the availability of a right-of-way. Allison Bookwalk, the Planner IV Planner 4 for Kansas City-based infrastructure design firm HNTB, said during the meeting. Linwood is twice as large in terms of right-of-way to make space for the streetcar, so that allows us to consider things like dedicated lanes, whereas 31st Street, that's a non-starter, she said. There's not enough room on that street to have dedicated lanes, and the advantage of considering that option is to have a more reliable and potentially faster travel speed to the corridor. That's the end of the article. That's the article.
Shout out Joseph Hernandez. Check him out. If you give the KC Star money, you can read this article. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll link it, obviously. So, but anyways, that's the exciting things that are happening here. I mean, that's East-West is good. I feel like, and maybe this has just been the case everywhere, and we're just now getting our transit projects, and we haven't had any before. But man, I feel like this thing is going at a freaking crawl. We're about to hit the 10-year anniversary of the streetcar opening, and its first expansion is like going to be barely done by the time that starts. Like, again, the biggest thing is just a similarly priced project happening in Kansas, and it's only going to take a year to build. Meanwhile, like the Main Street expansion, which is, similarly priced, is taking 3 years to build. And it's like, one of those is constructing an entirely brand new, whatever lanes, toll lanes for the highway, like 4-lane toll lanes for like 10 miles of highway.
Well, it had 2 lanes, one on each side.
Well, they're expanding it too. They're adding the toll lanes, and they're adding extra lanes to I-69.
I thought you were keeping the free lanes the same, but the toll lanes are the extra lanes added.
I thought they were expanding it 1 lane and then also adding a toll lane for a certain section of it. That's what I thought. Either way, they're adding new.
They're adding a rich person lane.
They're not just doing. Yeah, they're not just repaving a road and putting rail in it.
There's also been, I've heard some chatter about K10 and 35 becoming Kansas Turnpike toll roads.
Yeah, I got a K tag.
Cool.
That pays for the roads. It's like I can't really.
Well, I mean, that's all I have for today.
That's all I have. I mean, it's optimistic. It's good. It's finally expanding it east-west, finally expanding it into Kansas. But again, I don't think we have a time when this project will even be done. I think it'll probably start construction next year at this rate, obviously, because it's November. But that's just like a probably. I don't even think we know that it'll start next year. It won't start in 2025. But honestly, my big criticism of KC Streetcar, can we do 2 things at once? Can we have 2 construction projects going at the same time in different parts of the town? Like, do we have to finish the Main Street thing in 2 years and then start the next project? Can we just like do 2 things at once?
Let's clog the entire city with construction.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, to get it done faster. It's not like it's not already clogged with construction on any given day,
All right. Well, this has been the CleoCast. My name is Matt.
And I am RC.
And you can follow us on Twitter at Clio History. You can email us at cleohistorypodcast@gmail.com. You can leave us a review if you'd like. If there's like a rating or algorithm, like likable thing, please do that. That helps us a lot. We're available where you get podcasts. Yeah. And if you have friends that are into the whatever goes on in the 31st largest metro area in the country and sometimes sports, let them know. All right. That's all I have. Bye.
Bye.